Hello, welcome to another video from Homesteading Off the Grid. Today we are transplanting poplar trees, so we're going to talk to you about the best time of year to transplant trees. It's February 21 right now, spring is on the way, and that means the trees that have been dormant all winter are starting to bud. These are poplar trees, as you can see here. Here's a bud, here's another one we already dug up, but we're going to dig up another one and show you how we transplant them. You want to do this just as the trees are coming out of dormancy, early spring. But we don't pay as much attention to the calendar as we do the trees themselves. These buds let you know they're ready to start growing quickly, so this is when we transplant them. If you wait until the leaves are on the trees and you transplant them, you shock the tree system too much to where you're not going to kill them, but basically you're going to lose a year's worth of growth. And we did this 2 years ago. This is all about trial and error for us. We do our research, we watch other YouTube videos, we Google, we read articles. And we have some knowledge, having just done this all of our lives, but not to the degree in which we have been lately. So, but once the buds come on, you want to get them in the ground so that this entire year, the roots will start growing, it'll re-root, the leaves will come out, and we'll still get this year's worth of growth on this tree. So, you want to be very careful and not cut the root off too much. You want to get as much of the root as you can, because the more root the better. So I'm going out kind of wide from this tree, getting up underneath it there, and then I'll come in and use my hands for the most part, so I can work more surgically here to get as much of this root as I can. And now guys, that's great right there. It's still dormant, which means it's still kind of comatose, but when this thing wakes up after it's been planted, which we're going to show you in the next part of this video, it's going to really thrive this year and turn into a beautiful young poplar tree. Okay, so now it's time to put it in the ground. As you'll see here, I've already prepared my hole. This isn't as important during this time of year because the trees are dormant as it is later in the year. If you do transplant trees later and it's hot and sunny, you want to make sure not to have these roots exposed to the heat and the sun any longer than you have to. So that's kind of why I showed you this part. But it's more applicable to June, July, August, September. You can transplant trees any time of year, but when they're starting to bud is the best time of the year. So this is the easy part. Now when you put it in the ground, you want to make sure not to, okay, this is the surface level. You want to have the same surface level as the tree originally had. If I put this deeper in the ground and go maybe 3 inches down below where the tree was originally, this could lead to rot, decay, and infection right here, and the tree could die. So I make sure to have it level there as I start filling it in. And then if you've seen some of our other videos on our channel, you know that we are big about not wasting stuff that most people usually waste, such as wood stove ash, which helps add phosphorus to the soil, and these are coffee grounds. We dry them out to burn for mosquito repellent in the summer, but these are still moist, but that's fine because we're using them as fertilizer for our tree. Now you don't want to use too much of either, because I mean, you know what happens when you drink too much coffee, right? We don't want to give the tree a big old caffeine buzz and shock and possibly kill it. So we just use a handful, and then we go in here and bury it. And it's really not hard. You know, it just takes some time. If you look down, everything's still kind of dormant, so you can't see, but we've got 2 tree lines here, and then down around the front, we've got 7 tree lines. We've planted, it's got to be 300 trees right here in our field over the last couple of years, and this is how we're doing it. And so this is how you learn. This is how you get better at it. This tree is probably going to grow better than any tree that we've planted so far, because it's tree number 337 or something like that. So we've had 336 lessons so far. So what we're trying to do here is have a couple of new tree lines, and then we're reforesting that entire section of our property back there, because it was all field when we bought it 2 years ago. We're going to keep a lot of field, and we're going to do some tree farming in there, but we want to have forest too. Now, I'm going to point out something very important to you here, and you can look right here for some evidence. Here you can see we had a little doe here last night. That's a fresh track. Guys, we've learned over the last 2 years of trial and error. There's another poplar we got to plant here in a minute. If you have deer where you live, they will eat everything you try to plant, because they eat everything we try to plant. Right here on this tree line, my wife, who's filming this video, and our son saw 22 deer at one time here. And you've probably seen some of our videos where we were cutting locust I was showing you how to split locust and ripple with the chainsaw. When we were out here cutting locusts that day, we were using a chainsaw, and my wife was filming me chop the wood. One time I turned the chainsaw off, put it down, and we heard something behind us, and on the other side of this tree line we had 15 deer. I mean, they're scared of nothing. So what we've learned is that if we're going to take the time to put in a tree, find it, prepare the hole, prepare the nutrients for it, we are going to take the extra time to put up a guard to keep it safe from the deer. If we don't have a guard made, we don't put a tree out. So we just get this 2" by 4" fencing wire from Lowe's, get them in 25 rolls for I think $18 a roll, and then we use these metal clips. We get these, buy these 50 packs for like $9.99 on Amazon, I think, and we just secure it like this, okay? Because what happens if you don't is you see the buds on the poplar trees as they're coming up, you know, letting you know this is the time to transplant them. The deer will come along and just nip that off, nip that off, nip that off. And the smaller the tree, the more numerous the buds. They just nip, 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 nip them all the way to the ground, and they'll never grow. So if you're gonna take the time to transplant your tree as the buds come out, make sure you're taking the time to protect them from the deer if you have deer in your area. And in 3 years, we'll be able to take these cages off, and it won't be a problem. But the tree, for it to have a chance to start growing, you gotta keep it safe from the deer. So if you enjoyed this video, please go down and click subscribe. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed, and please check in with us later for more videos. Thanks for being with us today.